Looked for death, like literally. I went deep into my soul and I was like, where are you, death? Come upon me. I wanted to die just because I just saw myself in my 30s being dumped by somebody I thought we were going to spend the rest of my life and have kids with. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Hadi. And if you're new here, welcome. And how are you doing? I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're living your best life. Anyway, guys, today I'm here with a video to talk about heartbreak, to talk about getting dumped in your 30s sucks. I was dumped in my 30s. So, guys, I'm going to talk about my shitty life that I lived when I was dumped. And I'm going to tell you some things I did to get over that heartbreak that almost took my life. Come on, guys, let's get into this video.
That's my biggest achievement in life. I know who I am. I love who I am. I like what I do, and I like how I do it.
Do you know how painful it is for you to be in a relationship with somebody and you actually think that he likes you, and later on you realize that he hates you? Like he was just with you for whatever reason in his toxic mind that he was with you. You know, being with the devil advocate, people who say they are Christians and they hide behind the Bible, behind the scriptures, and call themselves children of God. You need to see my face right now. And those are the kind of people that we as women, we get into, and we're like, I want to be with somebody that loves God, somebody that praises God, that worships God, that serves in the church. And you go into this relationship with the mind of settling and having children with them, and you guys go to church with them. At the end of the day, you find that they are just demons. That was the kind of situation I did find myself in. Now, a backstory. I met this guy through a friend. He was like somebody that I know, but we're not close. I just know him through this friend. And somehow he came to work where I work as an agency staff. And while I was there, we started talking. And then I was in my 30s, like I said, and I wanted to get married. I was in this vulnerable place where I wanted children, I wanted family, and I was praying. And then I devoted myself to God and the things of God. And when we started talking, that is why I said the spirit of chameleon. And I would advise any woman today, when you meet a man and the man asks you, oh, what do you like in a man? Never answer that question. That is a question from the pit of hell. Because as soon as he starts saying, oh, I want a godly man, a man that loves God, a man that does this, a man that is kind, caring, immediately they will change to that person you want, because they have the spirit of chameleon. And that was what happened to me. Even though I've dated before I was in my 30s, I think there were things then that I didn't know, or I knew, but because I was desperate. You understand what I'm saying? I was looking at my life. I didn't have any relationship, any meaningful one, in terms of with the opposite sex. And more, what was really working against me then was I wanted children, because I know that my biological clock was ticking. And if there's anything I wanted more in this life, apart from life, it's children. You understand? Because children are basically our tomorrow. And I wanted these things. And because I wanted children, I was ready to settle. And I didn't even know that I had that mentality. So I was talking to him and he asked me that chameleon question. And I did answer him. And that was it. And it became what I wanted. After work, it was, can we go out for dinner? Can we do this? Can we do that? And another thing was, I have been celibate for a long time. I think I was celibate for about 2 years. So imagine, I was celibate by choice. But at the same time, if you're not a virgin, your body sometimes wants these things because you have tasted it before. So your body wants it. And because I've not been touched by a man, we went out on our first date and we talked, and the excitement of being with somebody that I thought that we have the same values, I think I opened too much about myself. I told him things I shouldn't have. Looking back at it now, I was desperate. And I opened up so much about my life to this guy, about my celibacy, about certain things I shouldn't have told him. And he pried on me. That was what he did. Yeah, he did. And on our first date, he just kissed me. You understand? You know that kind of wet kiss when you are already attracted to somebody because the things you are saying makes so much sense. And I was kind of shocked because this was a guy that told me that he was a Christian, he doesn't sleep with a woman. And guys, don't forget this. I forgot to mention something. He is a single dad. He's got 2 children with his ex, which should have been a red flag for me not to get into a relationship with him. But I said, it doesn't matter if a guy likes you. What does it matter if you have children? Oh, I love children. Wrong mistake. And I allowed him to kiss me. And normally, you know how painful it is for you to get played when you know all the rules? Do you know how, because you are vulnerable and you know all the rules, but you were played? That was what happened to me. I am the kind of person people come to for advice. And I have all these relationship books, I have all these things, but I was not prepared for this temptation. I tell you, I was not. And that night, I left this place very late and I cried, because then, like I said, I've already devoted myself to the things of God and to God again. And I cried so much because I started crying actually from his house. And he was like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "No, I have told God that I'm not going to have sex again or let any man touch me like this until I get married." And he was like, "Oh, but we are going to get married. I want to marry you. I like you." You will be surprised that I know that talk is shit talk for you to meet a man, the first date, and he's talking about wants to marry you. That is a talk that every man says to a woman they just want to shag in their 30s. When you're in your 30s, what will a man say to you to get you? Of course, he would say he wants to marry you. I knew that bit, but like I said, I was in a vulnerable position which I did not know I was in at that time. Anyway, I left that day and so on. We went on in a relationship and it was like we prayed together, but he was hiding behind the Bible. And after a while, he introduced me to his pastor. Oh my God, ladies, another red flag. Listen, you just started dating this guy. Why would he want to introduce you to his pastors? Because that is how they introduce different women. These brothers in church always looking for a wife, always introducing different women to the pastor. Pastor, look at her. Is she okay? You understand? They will be saying they are trying to vet you and the pastor to vet you. At the same time, they want to have sex with you. And that was what happened to me. And I was going to my own church. Before I knew it, I stopped going to my church. I was going to church with him and I met his kids and he was always wanting to be around me and I was wanting to be around him, and I got carried away with the moment and I fell in love quickly and I fell in love too fast and he fell out of love with me. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. And we're in this relationship. Like I said, he was telling me he wants to get married. We need to rent a house together. Then I was living in my own 2-bedroom apartment. He was living in his 1-bedroom apartment. And it was like, we need to rent a house together. We started planning. We started looking. Like, we didn't look, but he was acting like we needed to look at some point, that he was busy with work. That should have been another red flag for me, but it wasn't. And another thing he did was the kids came over to spend the weekend with him. So he told me to accompany him to drop the kids over at his ex's house. And that was another mistake. I did not know then that he was trying to show me off to his ex, that he has moved on or he can get somebody better than her in terms of whatever. I don't know. You understand? And that was what actually happened. He used me. So his ex, because obviously later I did find out that he was still in love with the mother of his children. In my heart, which was a big mistake in my own part, I started planning marriage. I told my mother. I was so happy. And it was like, oh, I've told my family back home in Africa. You understand? He is from the same country as me, from Nigeria. And it was like, I've told my family, oh, my brother knows your mother. It just drew me in, and I allowed myself to be drawn in. And I was so carried away. And to make matter worse, he borrowed money from me. I know the rule. I know. You will say, come on, girl, you don't give a man your money. But listen, it's good to give that advice when you are not in that position. Do you know how hard it is when you are lying on the bed with somebody that you love and you think you guys are going to have a marriage, you're going to have family together, and he's like, babes, can I have so and so money from you? I want to use it. I want to put it in something, and I'm going to give you back next week on Felele. And next week becomes 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Anyway, guys, like I said, I shared too much information. So that period, I had some money coming for me, and somehow I told him about it. And 2 days later, I was like, babes, can you lend me so and so money? I'm going to give it back to you in a few days, unfailingly. I'm like, okay, why not? I trusted him, which was my mistake. And I gave him the money, girl. And that was the beginning of the end. Anyway, like after I gave him the money, like maybe a week later, I was calling him. Like, this was a person that always wants me to be in his house. And if I'm not in his house, is in my own apartment. We're always together, literally, if we're not working. And if the kids are around, we are always, always, always together. And which I think is so wrong when you just met somebody, or when you are in a relationship in that early stage. Until you are married, don't give your full attention to a man. That relationship, though it failed, but I learned so much from it, because that was what took me to my next relationship that got me the ring. Anyway, I was carried away. I was spending all my spare time with me. It became my world. I didn't have anything else to do other than be with him. I didn't have any program with friends. I didn't have my own personal things that was going on for me, just him and my job. And this particular night, he said he was going to work, and I was calling his phone. He was not picking up. He was not picking up. I knew that he was still hanging around another of his ex. Somehow she was messaging him, begging him that they need to come back together. And he was saying no, that he can't go back to her and stuff like that. Lies. Anyway, that particular night, I was calling this guy, calling him, and he was not picking up. All through the night, I could not sleep, because that was the first time that something like that has actually happened. Mind you, this is a guy that I cooked for every time. You understand what I'm saying? Which is so wrong. Don't ever cook for a man all the time that is not your husband. Of course, you can cook for him once in a while so he can know that you can cook, but not going on to this cooking parade of cooking every weekend or every time you have spare time and you are cooking for him. I will cook for him. I'll take it to his flat. I'll take it to him. He'll come pick it up. I was basically taking care of him like he was my husband. That was how I was living with this guy. The only thing was, we're not living together, but we're always together. So back to this disaster. I was calling his phone, he was not picking, and the whole night I could not sleep. I was calling friends, or I've been calling him, he's not picking up. I could not sleep. And the next day, he finally did pick my phone. And guess what, guys? It was like, you are so needy. Why are you calling my phone? I'm like, where are you? Where were you all night? It was like, why are you asking me? You are not my keeper. You are not my... That was immediately, I knew in my heart of heart that the relationship was over. I knew that he was done with me. But I was not done yet. Because like I said, I just felt like this was it for me. This is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. I allowed his sweet talks to get into my spirit, and I was in my spirit, we were married without the ring physically, which was a big mistake for me. And it was like, It was going on and on and on and on. As a matter of fact, I don't know. That day, he spoke to me roughly. You understand me? He said he was at home. He was giving me all kind of flimsy excuses, all kind of rubbish talk. And I was so desperate that day because, when you are panicking, like you are losing a grip of something that you think was yours, which was never mine in the first place. And I felt like I was losing my grip on him. Immediately, I took the taxi. I could not drive. I was shaking, literally. I went to his house. He was not there. And he told me he was in the house. Obviously, he was with somebody else. And I was shaking, literally. I called the pastor because I had the pastor's number, and because it was his church and the pastor is also his friend, the pastor was not saying anything I wanted to hear. He was just saying, yeah, leave it to God. If the thing is right, God will make, that kind of foolish diplomatic talk that some pastors say because the member pays tithes to their church. Anyways, guys, I left it at that. I went home. I cried my eyes out. I could not get off my bed. And eventually he called me, I think that same day or to the next day during the evening time. And it was like, why did you go meet my pastor? Why did you go tell my pastor? It was going off and off on it. He was shouting. And it was like, I'm even tired of this relationship. I don't even like your character. Oh, you are so needy. I don't like your character. He started spitting out everything he did not like about me. And I was shocked. And I was like, why did you not say all these things before now? It was like, yeah, you are too controlling. Girl, you don't give me space. I'm like, really? You were the one who was always on me, like begging me to stay over, you coming over. Even when I say I want to stay in my house, I need space, he goes, you see what I'm saying? He was the one that always wanted us to be together. You understand what I'm saying? So like I said, I learned so much from that relationship because men, they will make you feel like they want you, draw you in, and when you are in, they want out. It goes on and on about all the things he did not like about me, and that was it. And that was what broke me. I cried my eyes out, and it was like, I cannot marry somebody like you. And I was like, what did I do wrong? Just because I asked you where you were last night, you were not picking your phone. And that was it. That was the end of that relationship. And I cried and I cried. And I literally stretched my hands to death to say, oh, death, where are you? Come and take me. Come and take my life. I want to die. I literally wanted to die. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't eat. I couldn't drink. I was just crying and crying and crying. And then I had a friend, and this friend, she's also his friend because his friend was asking her out. So I met her through him anyways. And she was comforting me. And even though she was comforting me, she was talking to him as well. She was begging him. And that is another mistake that we ladies make. When a man says it's over, don't beg. Walk away with your dignity, which I should have done. I could not. Because like I said, I was not ready to walk away. And my friend was soliciting on my behalf. She was talking to him and it was like, I can never be with Hadi. I would rather be with the mother of my children. And I don't even like the mother of my children. But I would prefer to be with the mother of my children than to be with Hadi. And it made me look like this horrible, horrible person. And I cried the more. I was like a zombie. At some point, I needed to go back to work because I had to pay my bills, and I was going to work like a zombie. And somehow, and when you are heartbroken, you want to talk. You want to tell anybody who would listen. And then my biggest mistake, I started talking to colleagues at work, which is a wrong move. And everybody knew that I was heartbroken and this was what was going on with me, and people gossip me, people talk trash about me, and I did not care. I still just wanted to talk because I was that sick. I was in that place where I did not care what anyone said. I just wanted to feel good, feel better again. I wanted the freedom of my heart. I didn't think I was even making this video is a miracle for me, because where I was then, I went into the deepest darkness of my soul just because in my 30s at that time was the time that I wanted to get married. And all my life, all my happiness, I built it around that focus to say, I want a husband. I want a husband. I wanted children. I didn't see anything else. I didn't even look at the character of this person. All I wanted, all I could see there was marriage and children, which is a wrong move. And somehow, by the grace of the Almighty God, I was able to get over that breakup. And I told myself that this would be the last time that I would ever feel like this again or put myself in a situation with a man like this. And what are the things I did to get over that relationship? One of the things I started doing was speaking positive things and forgiving him, because I knew then that if I don't forgive him, what God has for me will never come to me. And I begin to speak out his name, and I'll say, so and so and so, I release you from my heart. I forgive you. I forgive you. And so the first time I started saying that, I will cry. I will be crying. Tears will be rolling. It hurt so bad because I wanted to kill him. And I'll be like, I forgive you. I release you from my spirit. I will cry. For the first 2 weeks, it was so hard to do. But the more I said it, the more it became easier for me. And I was able to release him from my mind with time, just by saying, I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. And after a while, I began to pray different prayers. I said, God, my own husband, somebody that will love me for who I am, somebody that will love me for the rest of his life, the husband of my youth, and I will be the wife of his youth, somebody without children. And that was where I drew the line, that I was never going to be with somebody that has children, because his children, then they always come first before me. You understand? We only ate what the children wanted to eat. We drank what they wanted. So I was like the fourth wheel in that relationship. Anyway, that was how I lived my life. I was crying and I was speaking positivity to my life, and I forgave him from the depth of my spirit just by speaking it out. And after then, I started to heal again. I started to be myself again. And I went back to my books. I went back to the drawing table. And I learned for the first time. I looked into myself to say, where did I miss it? And I saw all the places that I missed it. And I wrote it down to say, I will never, ever let myself be this vulnerable again in a relationship where I would talk too much, where I will open up for a man too quickly. And I went back into dating again. And the first person I met is now my husband. And there were things I did behind the scene, which I don't want this video to be too long, to like things I said continuously that made my husband manifest at the time he did manifest. That will be for another video. But in this particular video, I'm just going to cut it short. The next person I dated was my husband. And when I met my husband, I was in a place where I'm like, I'm just going to let things flow. My focus wasn't about marriage. My focus wasn't about children. And I was like, if I don't ever get married, I will be fine. You understand? And if I don't ever give birth to my own children through my own body, I will be fine. Then I said, at the time, if I waited until a certain age and I still haven't gotten married or still haven't had any children, I was going to adopt children, 1 or 2 children, maybe twins, baby. You understand? So I made, and as soon as I started making all these preparations for myself, for my tomorrow, my mind became clearer. The burden of wanting children and marriage and everything, it was lifted off my shoulders. And that was what happened. And I met my husband. And my husband and I, we dated for, I think, 2 months. And he proposed to me. And I was like, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. And he was like, I want to get married to you. And like I said, I did not open up much about myself to my husband. I was actually difficult to him. And I did not have sex with my husband. I told him, listen, guy, I'm not having sex with anybody that is not my husband. I'm my husband. Then he was like, no problem. I don't want to have sex with you. I just want to marry you. And it was everything that I wanted. The guy that left me was how will I put it? It was a follower. You know, he doesn't know how to take charge of anything in life. He likes to borrow money from a woman. He likes you to make decisions for him. And when you make decisions for him, he criticizes you for it. My husband now is the kind of person that is very masculine. He takes lead on everything. He likes to make a decision. He is not controlling. He actually seeks my advice on things. He is wonderful. He has his faults, you understand me, but he was somebody, or he is somebody that I wanted in my life to be my husband, to be the father of my children. So guys, I'm just gonna end this video here. I think I've spoken so much about you or me being dumped in my 30s and how it sucks. I want to hear about your own experience in the comment section below. What do you think? And do you want me to make a video on how I met my husband, what I did behind the scene to meet my husband in my 30s after going through a terrible breakup? So guys, don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you on my next one. Bye.